Coming up on QUTV News this week, students turn to drumming to relieve stress.
And a campus club is pushing for equality.
And how one pitcher keeps his head in the game.
Hello and welcome to this special edition of QUTV News This Week. I'm Quincy Feeney.
And I'm Abigail Moore. For the month of March, QU Media ran a mental health awareness campaign. Our slogan was Be a Friend, QU.
Two unexpected friends found each other here at QU and are now inseparable. Hannah Horman and Tracy Hansen define how to be a friend at QU. Hannah Horman has had her fair share of experiences with friends, good and bad.
The friends that I thought were my friends that made me join basketball were the ones that also made me quit softball and every other sport that I wanted to do I thought I liked. And they're just mean people, and you don't want to surround yourself with mean people, especially if they make you feel like your life isn't worth living.
Horman's main reason for playing basketball was to spend time with these friends. She said no more to them and the sport at a tournament.
It's good to get rid of the toxic things and people in your life.
One of her best friends walked into her life at 18 years old.
She's very motivated in general, so she kind of inspires me to stay motivated when it comes to school, and she's just very supportive and she gets me out of my comfort zone. She's very outgoing.
Horman explains the uniqueness of a college friendship.
I love Tracy in a way that I never thought I could be friends with somebody, because even though I have my friends at home that are like my best friends, I feel like just meeting somebody in college is a lot different than having somebody from when you're little, because you have so much to talk about.
Their friendship keeps each other going.
Tracy's a super positive person in general. Like, she has been through some things that made her get through her life and I get through my life, and just being able to tell somebody or talk about that just whenever, be like midnight or something like that, but Tracy, I'm not doing good, or this is bothering me, and she'll be like, I'm here for you, and vice versa.
It also combats loneliness.
Having a friend in college, it's like a support system for you, and it's just another person to have around so you're not lonely. And just
as much as you need alone time, you also need to be with people who make you happy and make you make good decisions.
This year is the final year the two will go to school together.
Horman is transferring to another university and joining ROTC. Hansen is enlisting in the Air Force and is headed off to basic training.
But this doesn't mean they'll be far apart for long. Fate is bringing both of them to San Antonio, Texas for a little while. While Horman is attending school down there, she will get the chance to watch her best friend graduate from basic training.
Some students at QU lean on animals for emotional support. Campus officials allow support animals to live on campus if it helps the students' mental health. Emotional support animals offer well-being to those suffering mentally or emotionally. Students say those animals give them the motivation to carry on. To read about the process of getting a support animal, go to QUmedia.net.
Nursing students' lives are filled with stress. Their classes have constant exams, homework, and clinicals. It seems like nursing majors are always studying. Their exams and grades must both be at least a 77% average. Many rely on time management, a positive support system in an organization.
Signs and symptoms of depression are more common than you think. College students often brush off their signs of depression. Some students believe that it is seasonal, but it happens all the time. Depression can lead to frustrating times such as lashing out, as well as secluding yourself from others.
College students: sleep deprivation, seclusion, distancing yourself, and rebelling.
Sleep deprivation, or even sleeping all the time, can lead to depression and lack of mental health. Being aware of the symptoms you may be experiencing will help you in the long run. Many people participated in a drum circle last Tuesday. Each person had a different instrument and were instructed to just play. I joined the circle to see for myself how this exercise affects the mind and body.
For many, this was their first time being in a drum circle.
At first I was kind of like, I get really embarrassed in front of people, so I was just like, I don't know if I wanted to do it, but then once we started, it was like really therapeutic, and like I was relaxed while I was doing it. So.
The exercise was meant to relieve mental stress.
I really liked it. It was a nice break from classes and outside stress.
The drum circle was led by 2 instructors, one with several years of experience.
So the mission statement of doing the drum circle is raising the vibration of the body through drumming. So basically getting together with a group of people and having a conversation but without talking.
The students traded instruments between each round. The rhythm in each was different.
There's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just how you feel in the moment. Like he said, closing off your eyes and just hearing the others in the circle and playing off and feeding off of that. It's really nice to be able to let yourself go, work through that, and kind of let your body do the talking.
Its calming nature has been proven to reduce blood pressure and anxiety.
Doing something where you're moving your body and you're breathing. We took 3 breaths before we even started the round, and normally we don't do that throughout the day, even take a full deep breath. So that in itself really helps, and then relieving stress through movement and breath is really beneficial to the body, to the brain, to your mental health.
The exercise can benefit people of all ages.
Visit the Quincy Drum Circle on Facebook to find out the next opportunity you can get involved. Next, how social media plays a role in mental health.
And are you getting enough sleep? If you aren't, this could be affecting you physically and mentally. A new study shows the number of children and teens in the U.S. who visit emergency rooms for suicidal thoughts and suicide attempts has doubled. That's according to publicly available data from the CDC between 2007 and 2015. Natasha Chen talked to mental health experts to understand why this might be happening.
In 2000, I'm Natasha Chen reporting.
Social media played a big part in our mental health campaign, and joining us now is the social media campaign manager, Taylor King.
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me. Our social media has made some big impacts on our followers, but I think our biggest ones were Facebook and Instagram.
Okay, so what was the best post out of the entire campaign?
Yeah, so our best post was on March 21st, and it was a picture of Brenner Library looking out with the big windows, and it was a beautiful day out. It was 60 degrees, and it was saying, get out, finish your homework, and go enjoy the fresh air and the fresh weather with your friends.
Okay, and that is really a beautiful view of campus.
Right.
So tell us about the Twitter engagement. What was the Twitter like?
So Twitter engagement was unfortunately one of the lowest ones that we had. We had an average of 2 likes per day, but our retweets were better than they ever have. We had a couple retweets one day, then there'd be none a couple days, and then a few the next. So it was just kind of on and off.
Okay, and so you guys did run a challenge. So tell us about that yoga pose challenge. How was that, and where did that come from?
Yeah, so we came in one day and we were like, hey, let's try to do a challenge. Let's get the most engagement that we can for this last week. So we did an impossible yoga challenge, and it was kind of the expectations versus reality, where you have a picture of what you're trying to do and then what you actually do. So it kind of didn't work out sometimes, but then did. It was kind of something fun for the students to get involved and do something a little crazy.
Okay, and so when people were posting that, they could use the hashtag, and you were posting that with all of your posts through the month. So what was the hashtag, and what was that all about?
Yeah, so our hashtag throughout the month was Be a Friend QU, and I think that this really engaged people and really found the foundation that QU has as a whole for being friends. And that's what people have when they come here, is they stay. They're like, my friend group is great, that's why I'm here, that's why I'm staying. So I think that's just what it made a huge impact on.
Okay. And then what were some reactions you got from people on the post? What were the comments and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think they were great reactions as far as I was concerned, but usually when we wanted to have the Be a Friend QU come out, we wanted, again, to have the friendship thing be a huge thing. And also, with social media being also a negative impact, we were trying to make it a positive thing to know that we have your back and you have ours type of deal.
All right, well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Most use social media to follow lives of friends and family, but sometimes people take it too far. Younger generations are constantly looking at their phones. Social media is not always a good thing. Studies show that using phones excessively is not a positive experience. For students, it can lead to a lack of engagement.
I've also just kind of seen it be a distraction, and maybe not even that they're engaged in the social media, but they're disengaged from the things around them.
There are ways social media can have a positive impact, but there are also plenty of negatives as well.
A person the age of 18 or older needs about 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. It's important to follow a sleep schedule in order to keep a healthy mind. Once the lights are turned off for the night, it's time to get some sleep. A lack of sleep will negatively affect your mental health.
You suffer from lack of sleep, insomnia, or other sleep disorders. What happens is that it really affects your brain activity and the hormones that are released in the brain. And it makes it harder for your body to regulate. And if you're not getting into the deep stages of sleep, you're much more prone to having low mood and not being able to think clearly, kind of being foggy-brained. And then that in itself can tie into other things and kind of bring you down.
She says there's no such thing as catching up on sleep. It's important to keep a regular bedtime routine. Keep the room dark and stay quiet, and stay off of electronic devices before bed. Well, coming up, there's a club on campus pushing for gender equality.
And seasonal depression is a real thing. Find out how it affects you. A study published in the medical journal Depression and Anxiety found that 3 out of every 4 college students are stressed. Students use many stress relievers when stepping away from the classroom, such as listening to music and exercising. Both are techniques found in an article listing the top 10 stress relievers for students.
Some of the things I do relieve stress is football. It's one of my main things because when you're out in the field, I'm only worried about the field and just making sure that I'm doing my job, you know. And I get to hit people. Not that it's a good thing, but it's a stress reliever. And I also play the game, and sometimes I hang out with my friends.
Other healthy stress relievers include eating right, staying organized, and taking power naps. Naps should be no longer than 20 minutes, and you should be sleeping 7 to 9 hours each night.
There's a club on campus that wants to empower women. That club is Rosie's Resistance. Members and leaders think it is important to provide a space for women to share experiences. Rosie's Resistance is only a little over a year old, but they already have big goals.
So we decided to start a club that, will empower women to be, stronger and have a group of people who understand similar experiences. And we also want to eliminate gender disparity.
The club is a place of sharing and listening.
It's important because in today's day and age, women are treated differently. So I think it's good to have a group of people that you can go to that supports you in whatever happens. They just listen and they can relate to some things or offer advice.
Rosie the Riveter is the inspiration behind the name.
So Rosie the Riveter was a symbol during World War II to empower women to go into the workforce and be everything that they'd told they can't be. So we have a We Can Do It campaign where we all get to be our own Rosies.
The group meets every other Thursday right here under the cafeteria at 9:30, and anyone is welcome to join. The biggest question for this group: what affects women's mental health?
I think women have a lot of expectations on them, and it's very hard to juggle it. And I think it really builds up. There's just so much we have on our shoulders and so much are put on us, especially with children, that I think we get overworked, and I think it becomes difficult to juggle all the things that women are supposed to be.
One issue they find on campus is not being listened to or being able to speak up as much, especially in a classroom setting. You can find various bulletin boards on campus made by the group, and they hope these boards make people question what's going on around them.
Do you feel like you're stuck in a rut, not quite yourself, or just not motivated to get out of bed? It's not just you, and it's not just a bad day. You could be suffering from seasonal affective disorder. Seasonal affective disorder, or seasonal depression, is a type of depression that affects people during certain seasons of the year. The most common season for people to be affected is during winter. While the winter months are drawing to a close, you can still learn how to cope with seasonal depression for next winter.
And joining us now from the Weather Center is Jessica Abrego.
Jessica, how is the weather going to be this weekend?
When I woke up this morning, I heard the word snow in the forecast, but luckily that was nowhere near us. But unfortunately, we will be getting some cool temperatures from that. But let's head on over to the Weather Center and I can give you a more in-depth look of when to expect those cooler temperatures. I think we are on about week 3 or 4 of experiencing flooding around us here. But as we get into this week and this weekend, we will be experiencing a couple days with some wind gusts, and we will be having some mixed temperatures as we get into this week. As we start looking at today, we are going to be all the way up to 73. Luckily, we are not down to 62 because that's usually where we are sitting at the normal temperatures for April. But the record has been at 86 before, and that sounds just as nice. But as we get into today, we will be at 73 with wind gusts at about 31 miles per hour. So if you're going to be outside, be sure to hold on to your hats because it is going to be a little bit breezy out. As we get into this evening, we're going to be going down to 60 degrees, and there is a chance for rain this evening. Unfortunately, we will be possibly getting some more rain. But as we get into Thursday, we will be up to 71. It'll be a little bit of overcast, but luckily the sun will still be out a little bit, and the wind will be at about 23 miles per hour. So not be as bad as it has been, but we're still going to be experiencing some of that wind. As we get into Friday, it'll be all the way to 52, which is a little bit cooler than usual, but Friday evening will be 34 degrees. So if you're going to be out and about, be sure to have a jacket with you. If you're going to be out to Quincy University to see the drama club's performance of All in the Timing, be sure to grab a jacket because it'll be cool when you leave the theater. Saturday will be 56, so this weekend will be cooling off quite a bit than usual. As we look at the temperatures for today, we are going to be all the way up into the 70s, but as we get down into this evening, it will be down into the 60s, so luckily it's not going to be too cool quite yet for us. As we look at Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, you'll see that we are going to be slowly dropping temperatures. And as we get into the 7-day forecast, you'll see that on Sunday is going to be all the way down to 48 degrees. But then Monday will be back up to 63 and then back up into the 70s from there. And as you're out and about walking around campus, you'll hopefully be seeing more pictures like this of trees blooming, and hopefully we'll be getting some flowers and everything else that spring has to offer. So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, I am loving seeing all the plants blooming around campus and around town. That's definitely refreshing.
Yes.
But I'm not a fan of that 48 on Sunday.
Yeah, not on Sunday. You know, I will take the cooler temperature after going on choir tour and seeing the flooding all the way down in Calhoun County.
Right.
You know, you have one side of the van, you think, wow, that's a lot of water, and you look out the other side of the van and there's even more water. So you know what, I think I'll take a little bit of a cool temperature, just a little bit, than having all that flooding up here.
Right. We haven't seen it as close to the university, but down by the riverfront there is some. All right, well, thank you for that update.
The baseball team has thrown 6 shutouts this year. Find out how the Hawks did this past week.
And inside the mind of a baseball player, the mental approach a QU pitcher takes on the field.
.edu to get started.
Well, we've really waited a long time to see the somewhat nice spring weather.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. It had to have been amazing for the Hawk athletes this past weekend, and especially for the spring.
It's definitely nice. The weather's heating up, and so are some of the sports teams. We first start with baseball. They took on Truman State yesterday, and they were led by Chandler Purcell, who was sidelined on Sunday due to illness. We'll take you there. In Purcell's first at-bat, he gets hit, he gets on, and his second at-bat hits a double and drives in Hawk center fielder Nolan Snyder as QU takes the lead there in the third. In the fourth, he gets another single as the Hawks started to bat around and put more runs on the board. Did the same in the sixth with another single, and he would go on to have another single in the eighth, as you see here on the prolonged play. And Purcell reaches base 5 times, goes 4 for 4, and importantly for the Hawks, they win 9-5 for their 5th straight win, and they take the series from the Bulldogs. They're now 25-7. Purcell again 4 for 4 with an RBI 2-run score. Dalton Overstreet on the mound just allowed 1 run over 6 innings. Now the second best earned run average in the GLVC. Men's tennis won 5-2, while women lost 4-3 to William Jewell in a GLVC match at the QU courts. The men are 7-10 and 2-3 in GLVC play. The women are 6-10 and 1-4 in GLVC play. Hawks volleyball finished the MIVA regular season against Loyola on Saturday, falling in 3 straight sets. Omari Wheeler led QU with 10 kills, who ended the season at 5-22 and 0-14 in MIVA play. The Hawks track and field teams were in Fayette, Missouri this weekend. Hannah Horman earned her second straight top 5 finish in the 300-meter steeplechase. On the men's side, Logan Wade earned a top 10 finish in the 3,000-meter steeplechase as well. Women's golf played in the Triton Invitational in St. Louis, Missouri, finished 10th was Emily Van Reed. She was the best finisher for the Hawks, scoring a card of 161, tied for 14th in individual scoring from the Norwood Hills Country Club in St. Louis. Baseball pitchers, especially at the highest levels, are physical specimens. They can make baseballs defy the laws of physics. Some can even hit triple digits on the radar gun. But as QUTV's Shane Holsey explains, there's a lot that we don't see.
Baseball. We always see the product on the field. But what goes on inside a pitcher's head before he takes the mound? To dive deeper into this question, I chatted with Quincy University right-hander Jack Woodhelm, who had a sub-2 ERA as a freshman in 2018.
A lot of people say pitchers are weird, and that's because we have different ways of functioning, different ways of working, as does everyone else. But for me, I just try not to think about anything and trust what I've done in practice, my preparation to take over. I just try to take my edge of I'm better than whoever steps up to the plate, and I take that edge with me up there and just think about nothing, trust myself and trust my preparation and take it into the game.
But it doesn't always go according to plan. So, how does a pitcher get over a bad outing? Well, for Woodhelm, it has to do with everything but baseball.
Personally, I kind of honestly just try not to think about baseball. I think the more and more that we think about it, it's a game we obviously love, but the more and more we think about it, the more we're just going to tire our mind out. I think the more you can exercise your mind in different aspects, the better it is. But at the same time, you just have to tell yourself that, I'll bounce back. It's just a bad outing. I am the guy for this, and you just really have to move on and just flush it. Because if you keep going back to the bad outings, then you're just going to keep bringing in bad memories versus the good ones that you want to have.
Next, how the QUTV team copes with stress.
The QU Counseling Center provides free services to students battling with issues like anxiety, relationship problems, and college adjustment. Counselors will provide you with a handout of quick tips for your mental health.
Coping tips include meditation, thinking positively, and getting in a good workout. To make an appointment, you can call 228-5432, extension 3785, or email QUcounselor@QuincyMedgroup.com. The Counseling Center is located on the first floor of Friars Hall.
Now, mental health can be a really tricky topic to talk about, and our goal of this campaign was to raise awareness and to get people talking about it. And everyone does deal with some sort of stress or anxiety, and it's important to have a healthy coping mechanism and not harmful ones. So when I'm stressed out, I try to do something that keeps my mind busy. So even if that's just laundry, that helps, or even if it's just doing a word search, something that keeps my mind active, or music.
And I think everybody has a different way of doing it. For me, I would say either working out, going to play tennis. I think the biggest thing for me is sleeping. Which everyone needs enough sleep. We talked
Right.
about that earlier.
Right, clearly.
Yeah, for me, I like going and throwing a baseball or going to work out, just relieving stress really anyway, going on a walk, doing whatever, really taking my mind off stuff.
You can definitely probably catch me with my headphones on, listening to some tunes if I'm stressed out.
And that's
Definitely my go-to.
An excellent way. Well, if you are ever feeling hopeless or like you have no reason to live, we urge you to contact a friend or call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. You can call that at 1-800-273-8255. And as we leave you today, we want you to take you outside to enjoy some mood-improving weather. QUTV photographer Shane McAdams took some time out at Siloam Springs State Park near Quincy and sent us this sunset. Take a mental health moment and enjoy. And thank you for joining us on QUTV News this week.